Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Horsch Kessel Vanya class Jedi Courier ship. Now, this is a little different here because this is a ship that was designed for West End game or not West End Games, but Wizards of the Coast. This is the only information we really get out of it. Now, we're going to get into the stats for the D6 version, but these are where the stats come from. They were reverse engineered to put into the D6 role playing game, but this is the only write up that we actually have. If you look it up on Wikipedia, you're not going to find anything there. They will just bring up a uh, Jedi Courier. Um, which really kind of comes down to being one of two ships. Okay, now this is the replacement for the earlier ship. So the earlier ship really was, um, as I kind of blow this up a little bit, so it's a little easier for me to read. Um, Here, we'll kind of read through this. Prior to formation of the Jedi Council, few Jedi had access to an old Republic ship as personal transports. With the support of the Council, however, Jedi could purchase courier ships, allowing them to take their students and allies with them as they travel. These space transports needed to be large enough to protect the Jedi and their students while providing reasonable comfort, but small enough not to intimidate foreign governments or diplomats. In later years, Jedi simply traveled in Old Republic diplomatic vessels, making Jedi courier ships obsolete. Sungram, Master Arcadia's Horsch Kessel Dalea class ship, which is a different one, was a typical example of a Jedi courier. It had a crew of two but could carry up to six additional passengers, allowing Master Arcadia to bring up to seven students with him whenever his duties took him aboard or abroad. I'm sorry. The ship's movable hull plating reinforced its shields, making it tougher than most ships for its size. Its strong aerodynamic design allowed it to maneuver well within a planetary atmosphere. The ship served well. That several other Jedi purchased the Leia class ships for their own use. However, such ships underwent extensive modifications, including the addition of meditation chambers, training facilities, and extended life support capabilities. Oops. Um, After several of these vessels were sold to various Jedi, Horst Keschel constructed the Venya, which is the ship we're looking at today, class ships specifically to serve the Jedi transportation ships. The Venya class ships had slightly more interior space than the Dalea class, usually allocated for teaching facilities. They could also travel farther between resupply stops and had a superior hyperdrive. For many centuries, the Venya class ships became standard among Jedi Masters who wished to take their students with them. After the Jedi Council determined that no Jedi Master could train more than a single Padawan at a time, they were no longer needed. So here we have the original specifications. This is a space transport, medium size, about 70 meters long, times 2 hyperdrive with a backup of times 12. Had room for 6 passengers, 10 metric tons worth of cargo space. We had enough consumables for a month. Um, had a crew of 2. See, now this is where we have initiative and maneuver, defense of 20, shield points, hull points. This is stuff that works well for Wizards of the Coast and their system. These ships could work, if everything works out properly, you can use any of the Wizards of the Coast ships with anything else of that era. So the Star Wars, the D20 Star Wars would be equivalent to third edition. So if you had a third edition character of any type, it would work well with this. So what we're going to do is bring this right into looking at it in the D6 stats, which is what we kind of, or what I kind of prefer. So if you're watching this, hopefully you kind of prefer it a little bit more yourself. It is a nice, simple system for running a role playing game. It works very well. If you only have one person with the books, like I was so for so many years, it's very easy for someone else to come in and be able to level up their characters or do modifications or whatever else. So that's the reason why I really love the D6 system. All right. So again, this is for the Jedi Order. This is an old Republic ship. Not saying you couldn't find it somewhere else, but it's just going to be an old, kind of antiquated vessel. If you take it outside of being an old Republic ship, doesn't mean it can't be a ship in existence anywhere else. We think of the Millennium Falcon. It had already been an old ship by the time Han Solo had gotten his hands on it. Depending on what version you like to go with, how he got it, and um, the method he had used and everything else. Okay, because there are a couple different novels out there, as well as we have Solo, a Star Wars story. So there's that way of him purchasing the Falcon from Lando, which is a constant because it is mentioned in the original canon. Okay, so we have a Jedi Courier ship, starfighter scale, 70 meters long. Um, Crew of 2 can be operated with a crew of 1 with a +5 for difficulty. We can have up to 6 passengers. Cargo capacity is still 10 metric tons, has not changed. Consumables is 1 month. Not typically available for sale. Doesn't mean it couldn't be from somewhere or found somewhere. We do have our ×2 hyperdrive and a ×12 backup hyperdrive. Now, we have a maneuverability of 4D, so this is a fairly maneuverable ship, although it is fairly slow, has a space of 4, with an atmosphere speed of uh, 800 kilometers an hour. It is kind of rugged, so it has a hull of 4D, has 4D shields, which is very respectable. Our sensor packet, we have passive scales going at 1,200 meters, so a little over a kilometer at 0D, 2.5 kilometers at 1D, 3.5 kilometers at 2D, and 300 meters for a focus at 3D. So our passive, our active scan, and a search um, being in there. Now our weapon systems here, we have a proton torpedo launcher, has 14 missiles with a fire control of 1D, and it does 10D damage. So these were some pretty outstanding torpedoes that they were carrying, and it is going to be at Starship scale. Now we also have 2 laser cannons. These are turret mounted, so I'm going to guess it's one single, but just 2 laser cannons. One single turret with 2 laser cannons on it. Has a fire control of 2D, has a damage of 4D. I'm not going through the ranges and all that. You can see the ranges. Um, so it's not the most powerful. And well, these are fire length, so these are a little lesser cannons. They were fine for the time, but when we bring it into a more modern era, it is a little less damage. But if we think about it in this regard, the original TIE fighter, the TIE, twin ion engine fighter, when that was first introduced, the laser cannons on there being the same as what we see here was only a 4D damage. So this is pretty respectable for the time frame that it's in, and it wasn't bad. That photon or the proton torpedo though is very dangerous though. So do keep that all in perspective. Um, and unfortunately, we don't have a picture of this vessel. This is something that was written up for the role playing game, but we don't have any pictures for this. So regrettably, we just, I can't show you a wonderful design. Now we can leave it up to our own imagination of what this is going to look like. So we could grab anything we want and really just kind of put it down and say, this is our ship. Just do keep in mind, whatever we do uh, use as a proxy for the ship, it does have a small cargo capacity of 10 metric tons. So it's not something you're going to be obviously using for a big transport. Does mean that yes, we could have some extra supplies. We could use it for a world relief mission or something like that. 10 metric tons is still 10 metric tons, but it does limit as to what we can do. Um, or more importantly, that cargo area could be very well used for training purposes. Having a small cargo bay like that would be great for doing lightsaber drills and stuff like that. So just kind of throwing that out there as a possibility. So regrettably, we don't have a picture for this ship, but it is one of those ships that we don't typically get to see on a day-to-day basis. Uh, all the ships that get a lot of the hubbub and all the views and everything else, but this is just one of those that we don't typically get to see. With that, I hope you enjoy the series. It's still wonderful. It always has been wonderful to bring this to you every day. We'll keep it going for as long as we can. There's tons of ships out here that we don't get to see, and at some point, who knows? Maybe we'll get to some fan-made ships. So, with that, hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.